Hello, everyone. I brought up my phone not so I can text while I'm talking, but because I need a timer, because I will keep talking if I don't have one. I'm so happy to be here. I got here like 2 days ago, and from the second the elevator opened from the airport, David was there with his bright smile. He just walked back there. Him and I are matching, and we didn't even plan it. But I was welcomed as soon as I got here, and I have to tell you what he welcomed me with, because it has become one of my favorite stories for my trip here, and some of you know this already, but David gave me a shirt that had cow tipping on it, which I could relate to being from Texas. And the second thing he got me was a coffee mug that was painted like a cow, and what held up the coffee mug was udders. And I told him that it was utterly amazing, and I was just so excited to have it. But after that, I just felt like I was meant to be here, and to have my parents with me here is such a treat. And yesterday, I was able to meet many different people, and we started off the day visiting with the women from the Hope Center. And I have to say, I had so much fun doing fellowship with these women, because just sitting in the room with them and talking with them made me so proud of them. And I have to say, Andrea, you told me you were nervous yesterday, but you did incredible. And I have not cried the entire time we've been here. And I looked at my mom, and as soon as you went like this, I had looked at my mom, and I was like, she's making me cry. And I was sitting there crying, but the stories that I got to hear from you and just getting to know you guys, you are incredible. And I cannot tell you how proud not only I am, but every single person in this room is of you. And I feel like I'm getting emotional. Oh, I think it's because it's like a tea party, and there's just so many women, and I'm just emotional. Oh. But after that, we got to have lunch with the staff of Hope Ministries, and I have to say, not only did we eat really good food, well, they had a different lunch, and I had McDonald's, but not only did we have really good food, but I have to say that we laughed almost the entire time at random stories, but it just continued to build the love that I felt here at Hope Ministries, and I felt at home while I was here. And I travel a lot to different places, and sometimes, yes, it is really nice. Sometimes it's kind of different because we just, I don't know, it just doesn't click. But from the second I got here, it clicked. Last night I was able to speak at the Wake Up Youth event, and it was so fun. Even the green room, which wasn't even really green, that was really fun. It was just really cool. And again, if you kind of want to get to know me a little bit, my eating habits are like a 5-year-old. And when we were waiting to get started, I noticed that there was a fruit tray, a vegetable tray, and then my KFC that I took with me. So speaking there was incredible, worshiping was incredible. It continued to build the love that I have for every single person here. And I'm so grateful that I've had the opportunity to travel from Austin to share with you a little bit about my story. As you saw in the video, I was born with a very, very rare syndrome that only 3 people in the world that we know have. Like I said, I'm from Austin, Texas. The oldest girl that has it, her name is Amanda, and she's in her 40s. And Amanda is from England. And I'm the middle one, I'm 24 years old. And the youngest girl that has it, her name is Abby. And if you can guess where Abby's from, you would kind of be really surprised, but Abby is also from Austin, Texas. And I told my mom there was something in the water that they drank that 2 of us have the syndrome. But with this syndrome, it has definitely been a very big learning journey for me. Not only learning who I am as a person, but growing in my faith journey as well. I feel like I have had a very kind of experienced life for only being 24 years old. My life has gone from many ups and downs to ups and downs, and sometimes it's like a roller coaster. But every moment I have been so appreciative of. And I've realized that everything that I've gone through has been such a big learning tool and kind of like a stepping ladder that's helping me keep growing. I cannot gain weight with my syndrome, so I can basically eat whatever I want, whenever I want, and not gain weight. And I'm not trying to rub it in, I promise. I've never weighed over 64 pounds my entire life, and let me tell you, when I hit the 64-pound mark, I made sure everybody knew. Oftentimes when I'm with my roommates or my friends from college, when they're talking about dieting or working out, and like, anyone want to go out to eat, or? I don't really know what one wears to a gym. So my life is kind of different in that sense. And in the other thing, I am completely blind in my right eye, and I don't remember what it was like to be able to see out of two eyes. I feel like it's just very hard to comprehend how you can see out of two eyes. I feel like you just see way too much at one time. And I've also learned the benefits of being visually impaired. Half-price contacts. I wear one contact, not two. If my friends are annoying me, I've learned how to have them on my right side, and it's like they're not even there. But being able to joke about these things has definitely been a struggle. Growing up, I didn't know that I was different. I wasn't aware of the fact that I looked different, that I was smaller than other kids, or that even bullying or self-consciousness existed. My family raised me completely normally. They were so supportive. They raised me in our home church in Austin. Our extended family was amazing. So starting kindergarten, I was really ready for things to just continue to be awesome, basically. But I kind of unfortunately look at my kindergarten years as a big slap of reality for a 5-year-old. I was very excited with my Pocahontas gear ready to go and my backpack that was way too big, that pretty much looked like a turtle shell on my back. And I remember going in the first day and thinking I was the coolest kid in town, and it was completely opposite than what I could have ever imagined. Not one person wanted to kind of be by me. Everyone was kind of staring at me. A lot of the other kids were just really hesitant because they didn't know how to react to me. And I guess the best way for you to understand what it was like from my perspective is whenever kids would look at me or come near me, they looked at me as if I was a monster from a scary movie. And I, again, couldn't comprehend why they were doing this. And in my mind, I thought, okay, whatever, I'm a really fun kid, and they're just gonna miss out on my coolness. And so I kind of just let it go and thought things were gonna get better, and unfortunately, it didn't. And so I had to go home and ask my parents, what's wrong with me? Why are people scared of me? Why don't I have any friends? And I credit a lot of who I am as a person and the things that I've done throughout my life to this moment that my parents had with me. And they sat me down and they explained my syndrome. And when they explained it to me, they had not one negative word to say about it. Not one. They never said, Lizzie, you have this syndrome, you'll never be able to do this. Lizzie, you can only see out of one eye, so you won't ever be able to do these things. Never, not 1 ounce of negativity. They told me that the only thing that was different is that I was smaller than the other kids. And their best piece of advice that they told me the next day when I went to school was, you know what, just be yourself, smile, have fun, and other kids will learn to realize that you're just like them. For the next few years, I took that advice every single day, and they were absolutely right. A lot of kids still were kind of hesitant to be around me and get to know me, but the friends that I started making started becoming like my bodyguards in a way, in a good way. And whenever other people were picking on me or staring at me, my friends would come up and say, this is Lizzie, she's our friend, and she's cool. So having that support with new people and new friends was very beneficial to me personally. But as I got older, I started becoming more aware of my differences and becoming more aware of the girl that I saw in the mirror. And that's when things started getting pretty rough. I didn't want anyone to see that I was upset about how I looked, or I didn't want anyone to know that I was being bullied. So I would go home at night, and when I would take a bath and know no one was going to come in, that's when I would cry. And that's when I would kind of let all my emotions out and right after bath time was bedtime, and we would say our nightly prayers. And I remember every single night just pleading with God that when I woke up in the morning, he would make me look like everybody else. And unfortunately, every morning I was disappointed. And it was just an up and down struggle, because on one hand, I had an amazing, amazing family, an amazing support system. But on the other hand, I was confused, and I didn't know why God did this to me, why he made me look different, why he made me have all these struggles at such a young age. And so, again, it was a continuing journey of me thinking, who do I blame? Do I get mad at my parents? No, they didn't decide to have their daughter with an unknown syndrome. Do I blame my doctors? They don't even know what I have. So who do I blame? And the only answer I could think of was God. And throughout the years, things continued to get better. Things got a little harder, continued to get better. And when I started middle school, I decided to try out for cheerleading, and I made it. But don't be fooled, everyone that tried out made it. But still, I was really excited to make the squad, and it was something that really kind of introduced my personality to myself. And at the time, now I look back at it and I realized I wanted to wear the uniform because it was a symbol of fitting into the in crowd. It was my ticket into whenever I wore that uniform that I could feel cool and pretty and just like everybody else. And so I was always really, really excited when I wore it. And joining the squad made me realize that I'm a people person. I like doing new things, so I decided to join everything that I could get my hands on. Even when I started high school, I joined our school newspaper. I took pictures for our yearbook, which now I think back and I wonder, were they worried that a visually impaired person was taking yearbook pictures? But I did it. But I did things like that, and I remember taking early college courses when I was in high school that would transfer to college because I knew I was going to go to college. And I was just doing all these things that were really awesome generally, but personally, I still didn't feel pretty. I went through a phase that I kind of think of as my Brady Phase, where I wanted to look in the mirror and scrub off my syndrome. And it was a time where I was just really negative, and I was just really angry at God. And I was still going to church. I was very involved when I was in high school. I taught Sunday school. My dad is the director of religious education at our church, and my mother is a administrative assistant. My dad changed her title to administrative assistant. And so they all work at our church, and everyone knows our family. And it was just, I had my faith foundation right there in front of me, but I couldn't build it up the way that I wanted to, or the way that I believed was right. And so there were times that I would still pray and think, God, what are you doing? Like, just show me that you gave me this syndrome for a reason. And when I started high school, I was asked to speak in front of 400 freshmen and tell them my story, and I automatically laughed and said, no way, I'm gonna do that. Are you kidding me? And I, at the time, wanted to go to college to major in computer engineering because I'm obsessed with computers. And I ended up doing the speech, loved it. And in that moment, I had never felt more confident in my own skin than I did at that time. And right then, I put my hands up and I said, God, I know this is exactly what you want me to do for the rest of my life. And I decided I want to be a motivational speaker. I didn't even know it was a job, and when I found out it actually was, I was really excited. So I still, again, even though I was really excited to kind of share my story and show that even if you don't have my syndrome, we can somehow relate in some way or another through issues that we've gone through. And again, in the back of my mind, I still wanted to be like the girls in the movies. I still wanted to have that confidence like the girls in the magazines, but I didn't know how to get it. My definition of beauty was one that shouldn't even exist, because once I started speaking more and feeling more confident as I was in my own skin, I started realizing that the definition of beauty and the definition of having hope and courage isn't what you look like. It's the gifts that God blessed you with when you were born. And I realized that I had to kind of just lay it all out for God and say, work through me. Show me what your beauty is. And throughout a long period of time, I realized that his plan for me was to continue motivational speaking. And this year will be my 8th year of professional motivational speaking. One of the biggest obstacles that I had to go through in high school, unfortunately, was finding a video that somebody posted of me, and they labeled it the world's ugliest woman. Over 4 million people saw this one 8-second video with no sound at all. There were thousands of comments on it, not one was positive. My confidence level went from being up here to being probably absolutely nothing. And I decided that, what do I do right now? Do I fight back? Do I sink down to their level and hide behind my computer, or do I continue to make myself better? And I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I was determined to do it. And motivational speaking was at the top of my list to kind of get my revenge. I have always had a passion for writing, and my first year of college, I published my first book called Lizzie Beautiful in English and Spanish. A year later, I got a call to have the opportunity to write my second book, and I was absolutely floored because I thought, what? I already wrote one, and I get to write another one? My first thought was excitement. My second thought was I have a lot of work to do. But I wrote my second book called Be Beautiful, Be You, and it came out this past year. That book was like my baby. In that book, I pour my heart and soul and give people advice on the things that I had to struggle with. But to show that these are the tools that I use to overcome them, and this is how you can overcome them as well. Last week, I had my first official call for book 3, and I cannot wait to get started with it. After that, I had a goal to graduate college, and I finished my undergrad degree this past December. I thought that the world's ugliest woman video was going to be something that completely broke me and tore me down. But instead, I used it as a tool to show people, all right, you're going to call me the world's ugliest woman. I'm going to write a book and show you that I'm Lizzie Beautiful, not the world's ugliest woman. I realized that God has given me all these milestones and giant boulders to overcome, but he's done it to absolutely make me stronger. He's taught me that having 2 different color eyes is cool, because when someone tells me, oh, Lizzie, I like the color of your eyes, I say, thank you, which one? He's taught me that when I go out in public and I feel self-conscious, I'm going to go out and I'm going to make sure my hair is done, my makeup looks good, and my outfit is cute, because if they're going to stare at me, I'm going to give them something to look at. He's taught me that no matter what your size is, no matter what your hair color is, no matter where you come from, no matter if you were at your lowest of lows, there's hope for you to continue to make yourself better. And I think my best piece of advice to every single person in here is to not only love the person that God made you, but to make it your goal that to show whoever has doubted you in your life, the best way to get your revenge is to fight back with your accomplishments and to make yourself better. Thank you very, very much.